Camar Wheaton unleashed his top three, being OU, no surprise there. LSU, actually no surprise there either. And then Alabama, which was very surprising to me, because from all that I've kind of guessed to this point, just kind of watching the recruiting process go, is that it seemed like OU was pretty much well a lock and the LSU was close, but to me it didn't seem like Alabama had made up enough ground to make his top three. Now understand, when I say it didn't seem like Alabama had made up enough ground, part of that is because Alabama just flat out didn't need another running back in this class. They got Jace McClellan last year. They have Trey Sanders, who was there and got injured. He was the number one running back. And out of all the running backs at camp, I have been hearing huge things out of Tuscaloosa about three names. If you have pen and paper, jot them down, although you won't need to jot the first name down. Everybody knows him. First, Najee Harris is going out of his mind at Alabama camp. Second, Trey Sanders, they say, is the reincarnation of Josh Jacobs. And finally, Roydell Williams. Keep your eye out on him because he could be in for a big year given the opportunity. But let's talk about Camar Wheaton. And the reason I bring up all of those names at Alabama is those are the names that I figured that would kind of hinder Alabama from getting another top dog running back, at least until Najee declared for the NFL and left. Because at that point, they wouldn't be fighting with two 5-star running backs, two 4-star running backs, and by the way, one of those 4-star running backs, Jace McClellan, was a 5-star all the way up until his senior season when there was an injury. So that's a lot of talent in one backfield that he's competing with. Now that being said, is it super surprising that Alabama makes any top recruits top 3, top 5? No. Because we've talked about before, Nick Saban has got the juice and he is just flinging it everywhere. I've had so many people tell me that Nick Saban doesn't have the juice anymore. And that is just wild thinking to me. Just look at this class. Because unless you are an Ohio State fan, you cannot tell any Alabama fan that Nick Saban doesn't have the juice. Because guess what? Nick Saban is out-recruiting your whole class, and he did it in a few months. April, 55th in the nation to now, 2nd in the nation. Saban doesn't need the whole cycle, apparently. I mean, it's wild, and I'm not trying to turn this into a video talking about just how wild Saban's recruiting is, right? Just turn on any recruiting website, Rivals, 24/7, Max Preps, anything, and just look at the players he's getting, and that speaks for itself. So, going back to Camar Wheaton and his top three, personally, I think this comes down to LSU or OU. Now, if I had to guess, OU seems to be a very good location for him. He's been what I believe to be an OU lean for a long time. And that was probably the biggest reason I was surprised that Alabama made his top three, because I really thought that an OU, an LSU, and I wasn't really sure who else would crack the top three, but I was very pleasantly surprised it was Alabama. I think ultimately he ends up at OU. The relationships he already has established there are pretty great. From everything I've read, he's got a really good relationship with Caleb Williams. And in fact, from everything I've read, Caleb Williams is an equally impressive young man as he is a football player. I would love the opportunity to get to talk to him, because him organizing all of this, right? I'd really like to get to talk to him, because to me, he is doing something very important right now, and it's kind of laying down a blueprint for how other universities can go about still recruiting in this cycle. And what it is you have your players do the recruiting for you. And we've seen this out of other colleges, right? This isn't anything new. It's just new to the level of the extent he was willing to take it, and that is awesome. So Camar Wheaton, top three schools, LSU, OU, Alabama. Drop a comment down below. Let me know where you think he's going. Personally, I think it's an OU lean. I feel very comfortable, actually, that he's going to OU. Just watching him and then watching OU, it seems like a match made in heaven. He could absolutely come to Alabama with Najee leaving this year, right? Like that's a very real possibility. But that seems to be a very loaded backfield to me right now. And if I was a recruit, not one that is just incredibly intriguing to me as it currently sits right now. However, LSU doesn't have that same sort of talent back there that Alabama has. Now, they have John Emery, and he's incredibly talented. LSU's got a lot of talented running backs. but I'm just talking about the pure names that Bama has back there and the cachet they carried on the recruiting trail. It's really, really a lot. Now, I'm not saying all this to say Camar Wheaton is a guy who's scared of competition. Just watch him play. That is the furthest thing from it. But schematically, OU would be a match made in heaven. Really, all three of these colleges would schematically fit for Camar Wheaton, but it's close to home for him. It's a great program for an offensive player. I've said this in another video. If you're an offensive player and one of the top ones, it's very hard not to go to OU, especially at a skill position, given the fact that they had 2 Heisman winners in a row. They had Jalen Hurts throw for 3,900 yards last year and was incredible. They constantly put out NFL running backs, just like LSU, just like Alabama. And right now, they have a receiving core that rivals any in the country. So, all that being said, if I had to guess right now, I'm going to say Camar Wheaton to the University of Oklahoma. But that being said, this is pretty up in the air right now. I thought he was much closer to being an OU commit than apparently he was. So, it's going to be a great recruiting battle. Can't wait to see. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think, where you think Camar Wheaton is going to go. And let me know any recruits you are very excited about. That's it for this video. See ya.